to explore southern Chile by mountain bike. Like Doug, I have spent half my life in the United States and half in South America. When I first queried Chris Tompkins for permission to write a book about her late husband, Doug, I knew I didn't have to ask. In fact, she confirmed that when she told me, "You don't need my okay. You can just go and write it." Chris was right, but that was never the book I wanted to create. I was interested in the inside story of a remarkable man. I interviewed Doug enough during my 19 years reporting for The Guardian to know his close friends were protective and almost tribal in their secrecy. Then Chris said no. They couldn't help me on the book. 8 months later, I asked Chris again for her permission and collaboration. Again, I was told no. Chris was too busy. I tried again. If she didn't have the time, could she at least give her blessing? Could we agree to walk separately down the same path? The biography would not be authorized, but collaborative. We could share notes, impressions, and stories in the wake of her husband's shocking death. Here we found a common ground that, after 2 years, blossomed into a collaboration beyond my imagination and eventually hours of face-to-face conversations with Chris. Chris received my calls, read my emails, gave long interviews in Valle Chacabuco and Pumalín Park in Chile, met with me in Rincón del Socorro in Argentina, and as I was finishing the book, made time for video calls from her home in California. She shared Doug's love notes, private emails, personal photo collection, and stories of their life together. She shared his passion for conservation and was generous in sharing his life with me. For nearly 4 years, I explored the world of Doug Tompkins. At his park in Patagonia, I took an afternoon walk through Chacabuco Valley, aware that wild pumas roamed nearby. Instead of scary, it was invigorating. A sense of longing awoke inside me, as if I needed a reminder that humans, too, are part of the food chain. While visiting the national parks Doug had established in Argentina, I could hear but not see a family of howler monkeys high in the trees. My 7-year-old daughter Akira mimicked the call, and the howlers descended, curious about this strange little monkey, roughly their size. For minutes they stared eye to eye at one another, calling back and forth. Akira continued mimicking monkey talk, and the howlers chattered among themselves excitedly as they discussed the meaning of this new voice in the woods. Everyone present felt the connection, the communicating, the communion. I'd brought my children on the reporting trip, hoping that in the wild spots that Doug Tompkins saved, perhaps some wild would rub off. Might they return home themselves, rewild it? Akira's encounter with the howlers made it all seem possible. This book is my journey into one man's love affair with the wild. The wild mountains, forests, and rivers. Doug Tompkins was also wild, competitive, hyperactive, and as flawed as his friend and neighbor Steve Jobs, with whom he argued at parties. Tompkins was an environmentalist who drove a red Ferrari, a multimillionaire who preferred to sleep on a friend's couch. He was a stickler for details, yet he hardly noticed his 2 daughters right before his eyes. Hard-nosed, arrogant, and argumentative, he despised compromise. The world for Doug Tompkins was black and green. You were either a scourge or a seedling. He never seemed to worry what others thought. When the media savaged him, Tompkins laughed. He told Thomas Kimber, a young entrepreneur who was his neighbor, "It doesn't matter. In 50 years, they will be building statues of me." Like the way he drove cars and paddled kayaks, Doug Tompkins rarely looked back. Yet for all his faults, I found myself transfixed by this rock climber who, at the age of 49 and atop the peak of capitalism, took a deep look around and admitted to himself, "I've climbed the wrong mountain." To understand this complex man, I conducted roughly 165 interviews ranging from his 7th grade classmate, Stone Ermintrout, to his lifelong friend, Yvonne Chenard. I sat for interviews with Susie, his first wife, both his daughters, and dozens of employees who loved him, plus a half-dozen who loathed him. Notably, by the time of his death, Tompkins had converted many adversaries into allies. Critics who thought he was exaggerating the demise of planet Earth, people who wondered what he meant when he said that extinction was the mother of all crisis, began to see that he had offered them not a doomsday scenario, but a glimpse of the future. The planet has never needed defenders more than now. Wherever we look, environmental news